It's time for the Engaged Club, the podcast for club managers and operators that strive to create loyal and connected members, guests, and customers. Here are the two guys with the club management and digital marketing advice you need to realize your club's potential. Jim Hope and Roger Kincaid.
Welcome to another episode of the Engaged Club podcast with me, Roger Kincaid. I'm the marketing guy from Off Course Golf, and you can find our website at offcourse.golf.
I'm Jim Hope, and I'm the GM of the Derrick Golf and Winter Club. I want to talk a little bit about mastermind groups, and I know that you're in one. So if it's okay with you, I might ask you a few questions about the group and just the structure and, you know, what the process looks like with it as well. And, you know, the makeup of the group and the frequency that you meet and sort of what your expectations are with it. And maybe the difference between a mastermind group and a networking group, even though, you know, you might get networking out of the mastermind group, but I know that's not what the real purpose of it is for. And just to sort of bring that topic up, and I was in one once, and we were disorganized in that we weren't structured. I guess I shouldn't say we were disorganized. We just weren't really structured. So we might end up meeting for an hour, and somebody might have the floor for 55 minutes, and that might have happened 3 meetings in a row. You know, so we didn't have a lot of sort of purpose to our agenda.
Right.
And we were a diverse group. So question for you, if someone's thinking of putting together a mastermind group, you know the club field, and we're talking to club experts. Do you think it should be made up of all club people, or is there an advantage to have some club people and have people from other industries? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, there's got to be one common tie that binds, right? So for the group that I'm in, and I'll just say a little bit about it. First of all, it's a group of entrepreneurs. So we've all started our own companies. We have to be entrepreneurs. We can't be employees as part of a condition of membership in my mastermind group. And the other thing is we have a confidentiality agreement in place, right? And it's one of the first things that we know is that everything that is spoken in that boardroom where we meet never leaves that boardroom where we meet. And we need that kind of confidentiality so that we can have the kind of honesty that we need in order to grow. Now, back to your question. I mean, you can make a mastermind group out of anything that, you know, that will help you grow faster in a facet of yourself that's important to you. But I think for the purpose of this conversation, we could just assume that maybe 6 to 8 to 10 club managers in any given region would like to form a mastermind group. And they don't have to all be top tier private clubs. They can just be, you know, any type of club. They don't have to be all golf clubs. You know, I mean, I think if you add yacht club, athletic club, city club here, that would all be fine. But I think that you have to approach a mastermind group with two things. One, I'm going to take from this group a lot, particularly at the beginning of my affiliation, with the intention of giving more than I took when I'm done here, because you should always have, you know, some other people coming in and maybe people leaving the group when they don't find it as valuable anymore, that they can't provide as much value anymore. So I think that with the mastermind, you should really go in thinking, this is for me to grow, and I'm going to be shameless about taking, and I'm going to be as generous as I possibly can about giving.
One of the purposes of them would be that professional support that you're getting from your peers who understand the business space that you're in, and as where you are as an entrepreneur, or where I would be as a club manager. So they understand my space. Do you find you probably get, there's clarity, right? They're going to offer you clarity in a problem that you might have, but somebody else may have faced that problem, and they can have a solution for you that you've been batting your head against the wall and not knowing what to do, but they can help you with that. Have you found that is a big result of that, is the clarity? And then the other one to go along with that would be, I use the word, the emotional support that you're going to get from the group as well. And that, you know, you're maybe a little frustrated, you're a little uncertain as to what the future might hold, and somebody else in the group might be exactly where you were before and can provide you with that emotional support, and along with that clarity of from a problem that you might have.
Whenever you're talking to someone who's had the same lived experience as you, you know, the value of that therapy increases tenfold. Like, you know, I can't imagine the soldier talking to the psychologist, and it's sort of like, yeah, but you know, here we are in your office. You were never shot at. Like, you know what I mean? But when they're talking to each other, I think that there's a different level of therapy going on there. But anyway, that's not founded in anything scientific. But no, when you're talking to someone who's got the same scars and the same wounds as you, then that's really important and really helpful.
That can be really satisfying to have that emotional support.
Yeah, sure. But also specifically, here's what you need to do. Like if a grenade lands on your desk and you've never dealt with it before, to be able to have a group of, people that you can say, hey, in confidence, this happened and I don't know what to do. And, they're not your problem solvers, but they're certainly going to help guide you through the issue. So like an example of that might be if you're doing a capital improvement and then you get a curveball and now your budget's going to be 20% over, 30% over, right? And you're going to have to bring that to the board. You might have to assess the board. It's not going to go over well. It's going to look poorly on you. Then to be able to go into a room and say, this is what's happening. What should I do? And have one or two hands that could possibly go up and say, okay, when that happened to me, here's what I did. And these are the mistakes I made. So don't make these mistakes. And here's some practical advice that's going to help you out. So you talk about clarity. You're not getting some, abstract notion or theory. A lot of times you're actually able to, in that group of people, ask for, learned experience.
I guess one of the things it's not a group therapy session. That's not what this is about. The clarity isn't coming from, as you would think, how you would picture a group therapy session to be about, unlocking your feelings amongst the group and hope that they can help you, put them back in place. It's about, it's clarity about a problem that you're facing. As you say, that grenade that lands on your desk and how the hell you get out of it without getting blown up.
Exactly. And, Jim, sometimes talking to your friends or your spouse about your problems at work isn't good enough, right? And you do need to have somebody, and, you're right. This mastermind is not all about the group therapy aspect of it, but to be able to have real conversations and to be heard and to be understood, that helps you get past things and helps you get over things. A lot of times when we, go for beers with buddies after 5 o'clock, we're really just complaining. We're not getting through anything. We're just dwelling on something. But I think that the purpose of this mastermind group is not, you're right, it's not the therapeutic aspect of it, but it is in fact the growth aspect of it. And you have to go in there recognizing that there's probably, somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 100 years of experience around the table that you don't have, and that you should find avenues to get that experience working for you. Similarly, you got to look at every individual around that table as someone who can learn something from you and help them figure out what that is.
Because everybody in your group brings something that everybody else needs, right? Or somebody else needs at least. Mm-hmm. And I would think that when you maybe first enter into the group, you might wonder, well, what the heck am I going to bring to this? Because you looked at the resume or the success of the other group and you go, yeah, I'm just going to be learning here. I'm not going to be giving anything. And then all of a sudden you realize that you have lots to be able to give. And then it becomes a much more interactive process when that happens.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You'll feel like the little fish in that big pond when you first step into a mastermind group, but just hang in there, because you realize when someone fires a question your way and you're like, hey, I do actually know stuff that some other people in this room don't know, then you fill in your boots a bit more.
Real quickly, what the process looks like for it. If you meet for an hour, are you meeting remotely or do you meet in person? The club manager group might very much be remote groups because of the fact of just the number of clubs in a geographical area and what that process of a meeting looks like.
Yeah, sure. So what matters is that you're committed. Okay. So my group meets for 2 hours once a month, and we're committed. And if you miss 2 meetings, you're out. There's a couple aspects of it. You need to have a leader. Whether you bring in somebody from the outside who has experience leading masterminds, or you're going to do it from within, you need to have somebody who organizes the group, and you need to have someone who gives exercises, who creates an agenda, who brings in materials that the group can read and discuss together. And that person should probably also organize lunch, whatever that's going to look like. You can certainly meet remotely. I think it's more valuable to meet in person, but like you said, that's not always possible. And the internet has done wonderful things for these kinds of gatherings. So you can meet remotely, and as long as you're committed to the time and to sharing, then you'll get enough out of it. I've been remote for a couple of my sessions, and it's not quite as fun as sitting at the table with these guys who have become friends of mine, but I'm able to give and I'm able to receive just the same. But it really has to be a committed group. It has to be structured, and I recommend doing it over lunch. And you can spend time over lunch just bonding and just talking to each other about, the wife, the kids, what you're doing this summer, how the hockey team is doing. That stuff's really valuable in helping us, let our guard down and getting us to the point where we can truly grow together.
Anything else to add, Roger? I really like the mastermind process. I think the concept of a group of like-minded people getting together to talk about something that they have some expertise in a confidential forum with the one purpose of helping others in their business and getting help from others in their business in a very generous way, I think is something that people should look at trying to do if they can.
There's absolutely no doubt about it. Take the lead, offer to host it at your club, reach out to 3 managers in your community that you admire and 3 that you are on good terms, like whatever, just to put a group together. Put out an invitation, says we're all like-minded. We can all, grow from where we are right now. We all have a lot to share with each other. Having said that, if you wanted some help organizing a mastermind, then drop us an email, hello@engagedclub.com. And, we'll have a conversation with you that'll get you started on the right track to putting one together in your community, in your neighborhood. And Jim, I just don't think there's a faster, more valuable way to grow.
And a book that somebody might want to read, I'm not sure if anyone's ever read a book that was written in 1937. But if you want to read a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, fun book, and it's a fun little read. It's not a real thick one. It's a thin one, but a real fun read.
Awesome talking about this mastermind with you today. I hope somebody will reach out to us at hello@engagedclub.com to find out more. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with your friends in the club business. And until next time, thanks for listening.
This has been the Engaged Club podcast with Jim Hope and Roger Kincaid. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. If you like what you heard, share it with your fellow club managers and operators. Until next time, thanks for listening.